Am I supposed to start talking?
Yeah.
Hey, you're listening to me now? Okay, cool. You know, I'm gonna be that famous guy in a few years that like found out he could talk good into a microphone and people liked it. And I'm gonna be interviewed by some, I don't know, whoever. Some probably be on some podcast and be like, and now that guy with the weird ass voice, it's Mitch. All right. That'd be bad as fuck, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be the shit, man. So yeah, I was gonna tell you that story, right? The story you wanted to hear about, your dad. He used to ride mopeds. I did. Like, I didn't get a fucking car. Everybody else got a goddamn car. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean. A lot of people had a leg up. I was gonna have to get my own insurance and every fucking thing, cause I raised hell. I ain't gonna lie. I raised fucking hell. They were not gonna put me on their insurance until I was a good boy. So you didn't need insurance and shit back then on a moped. It's a fucking moped. And I've always torn things apart and put it back together ever since I was real little. That's what I did. I take shit apart, I put it back together. I've got to get a drink of this because I'm cotton mouth as a motherfucker right now. That guy with so many talents. Anyway, so I just learned to fix mopeds, like broken chains and all that stuff, and then I actually learned how to like work on the carburetor and like what it did and how it worked, and I figured out the ignition system, and I figured out like how everything on it worked. But then I started talking to like these mechanics, like this guy's named Jim Merchant, and he owned West Raleigh Cycle off of Hillsborough Street. And he was awesome. I went to a place called Scooterville the first time I needed my moped fixed. And it cost a fucking fortune. I was like, nah, fuck this place. I'm not going here. I'm going to some independent guy. And Jim Merchant was that independent guy. And he was badass. Well, he started teaching me how to, like, you can shave the piston and make it go faster and do all this shit. So that's what we did. And we would have mopeds, like, I mean, it's a moped, it's 50cc. But you get one to go, 42, 45 miles an hour, and now they're kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like I said, mopeds like a fat girl. They're fun to ride till one of your friends sees you. Jim Merchant taught me that. I loved him. He's probably dead now. He was a great guy. He taught me you could shave the piston and modify the cylinder, and all you needed was a file and patience, and you just had to know how to port it, and then you could actually screw with the head yourself and give it a little more intake time. It was so awesome. And we used to just raise hell on it, and at one point I had lost I was without one for whatever reason, and one of my friends was selling one. And about the nicest thing my father ever did for me was he purchased me a moped. My mother purchased me a moped for $450 in 1987, and that was like in December of '87. She got me that $450. And you couldn't fucking tell me shit, because I hadn't escaped from the fucking house I was in. Good Lord. So, I've got a group of friends that has mopeds when I'm growing up. Like George, George. You've grown up knowing George, because George is that friend that you have since high school. I've known George since 7th grade when he moved to my neighborhood. And George is a very, very good friend of mine. But anyway, George had one, and then like other people start getting them because you have them, People who can't get cars yet, but they can go out and find a moped for $300. So we started riding around together, and I got better and better at fixing them up, making them faster, and all of this, and really fucking with them. And like I said, my dad bought me one for $400 when I guess my other one blew up or it seized up or something. I was just like, I didn't have another engine for it. I had a moped fucking graveyard. Had your grandmother told you that?
No.
I had a moped junkyard in the backyard of her house. She had a shed back there, and on the far side of that shed, I had a pile of mopeds when I was a kid. I probably had 10 back there that were all like stripped down and shit. I damn sure did. I was like 17, 18, and I made them go fucking fast too. People brought them to me. That's why I had so many. Hand to Jesus. That's why I had so many. Because people would bring them to me and be like, can you fix it? And I'll be like, no, because you need a whole new engine, and this, you'd be better off just finding one, because this engine is just not going to do it. And you know what? People trusted me, and they left me without, they just leave me their dead one. They'd be like, well, you want this one for parts, I was like, yeah, no problem. And I'd have, like I said, this one blew up and somebody else wrecked that one or whatever, and you just get it, it was fucking awesome. But, like I said, my dad had got me one. It was a blue one. And it was like shaped like a motorcycle. It was a Tomos. And it was electric blue. And I was running around with people that I shouldn't have been running around with, that were a lot older than me, but were still on mopeds. When I was 17, these guys are 22, and they're still riding around on mopeds. And that should have told me that, no, but I thought they were cool, right? Because they were older and they could get beer and shit. So anyway, we'd ride around together and stuff. And there was one guy named John, and one guy named Tony, and one guy named I can't remember. Shane. Yeah. Shane, Tony, and John. And me. And we rode around, and John was the bad one. John was like, there's always the leader of the bad guys, there'll be like the 3 henchmen. I was one of the henchmen. I was the kid, and John was like the fucking, he was like, the dumbass leader that was a little bit intimidating because he's just a little too fucking crazy. That motherfucker's crazy. That motherfucker, something happened to him. He did something wrong. He took something. He ate a paint chip. He did something. But that he was like borderline, like something really wrong, but in like a not cool, crazy way. Like maybe inbreeding, like seriously, just like not quite. But anyway, that's why these guys are riding around on mopeds and mowing grass for a living and all that. And I don't mean like with a pickup truck to go mow grass, because I told you we all rode mopeds. It was like wherever he could push a mower to, he was cutting grass. Great life decisions. Just awesome. Okay. And what was I talking about? Okay, so I got this blue moped that's like a gas tank, like boy style motorcycle, right? And we're going, this thing comes up where I needed money for something, like badly. I think I found another moped I was going to buy. The blue one I just did not like because it didn't go fast. I kept trying to like fix it. And I knew how to fix them, and I knew how to like modify them and make them go fast. But this thing, for some reason, had some kind of governor on it or something. But it just would not go fast for shit. One night after it had rained and it was like real steamy, it went awesome. It ran fast as shit, and I was like, yes. And then the next day it ran like shit. And I was like, fuck, I hate this fucking moped. So I think that's what happened. I sold it, but I had a job So I couldn't go with these guys, but they went to this thing called Bud Fest in South Carolina, and I don't remember. Hold on, I gotta drink something here. Oh God, mouth is on my nose. Okay. All right, so they go down to this place called Bud Fest, and I had to work. I couldn't go. It's in Myrtle Beach. Okay, that's like 3 hours in a car. That's like 9 hours via moped for all the stop for cigarettes and just dangling me off this fucking for just hours. Like a car is comfortable, and a moped it's like it's fucking scary. And you're like, just, oh man, that is not a way to take long distance trips, man. Just trust me. Get your fucking license, you dumbass. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, it wasn't the car, I was getting the fucking insurance and being poor. Alright, so they go to Bud Fest. I got a lot of issues. It's like every little issue is just trying to come out at different times and send me through different tangents. It's crazy. This is Mitch's online therapy. Thank you. We are taking callers. We are taking callers, but that wasn't a call. I just want to see what time it was. So they're going to Bud Fest in Myrtle Beach, and as they're heading down to Bud Fest in Myrtle Beach, it's at night. Because believe it or not, like the later at night, the less traffic there is, right? But there's a trade-off, because you're on the road with either drowsy or drunk people for most of it. God damn, I've about fallen asleep at the wheel a few times the past couple of years. So, anyway, think about that next time. They're heading down there, and they're going, I think they were on the interstate for part of it. And they're taking an exit loop. Yeah, they're out there off a highway. And a station wagon comes up behind them. And the guy that I had sold mine to got run over on that blue moped that was mine that I sold it. And the rest of them were there. And he got pinned under the car against the moped, and the car's still going because it had to stop. Once they made contact, the driver woke up. What the fuck is that? Bam! And so, meanwhile, he's pinned under the car. So it's a big fucking deal. They get there, and nobody's wearing helmets. I wore a helmet. I did wear a fucking helmet. But these other guys, they didn't wear fucking helmets. So all the meat that holds your scalp on was ripped off of him. All down his back, everywhere. Everything was like, the skin was just ripped right off of him. It took his t-shirt off, and it just ground him into the ground for about 100 feet while he's being pinned under a fucking station wagon with a moped up against him. And he gets out, and he didn't get killed. It did not kill him, but it fucked him up. And he had to go to the hospital, obviously. Thank you. But they it wasn't so bad that they said he had to stay because he didn't have insurance. They just had to stabilize him. So they stabilized him, and they sent him home. He had to ride on the back of a moped for 7 hours while he was taking painkillers and drinking fucking whiskey to deal with the pain. And then he had to do that on the back of a moped. Now, I don't know that guy. I didn't know him well. He just wanted to buy that moped, and I had another one I wanted to buy. I think that's what I was doing, because I was always working some kind of bullshit deal like that. Always, because I hated to work, but I knew how to make some fucking money. Always. So, anyway, we would do that. And I just remember that shit. That was fucking awesome, man. I loved those days. Like, when you get older, you will be glad if you do crazy shit. Now, I'm not talking about hurting anybody or anything like that. I'm not talking about stupid shit. I'm just saying, when you get older, you'll look back and you'll be your worst judge. It's weird. It happens to you. Like when you hit like 44, 45, you turn into like, if you like my crazy ass personality that you got, and like I told you earlier, and you started fucking laughing at me, and I was like, I know there is some shit you have done that you don't ever want me to find out, because I have done some crazy fucking shit about that I get to tell my kid about, but I never want Carolyn to find out about. Can you dig it?
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So yeah, man, that was, God, how long ago was that? I am 47 years old. That was 30 years ago. And I was a bad motherfucker, man. You want me to tell you about the school? You want me to tell you the school story again?
Sure.
Because I was such a bad motherfucker, I dropped out of school. This is a 100% true story. George Zaki can verify that shit. And I just said his name. So George Zaki Heating and Air can verify this happened because he saw it happen. And that tells you what kind of people he used to hang around with. He also started his own business after I started mine, and I helped him. I told him what he needed to do, and it gave him the confidence to start his own very successful heating and air conditioning company. Swear to God, he did it, man. George is a fucking man. He's always been a hard worker. When we were kids, he was like Burger King. He was just like the Burger King. He's like, yep, flipping them burgers. You know, that's just George, man. Always responsible, always working. But we need to take a drink of water. That's what we need to do. I had made, this is, you know what I'm going to call this? This is going to be the confession booth, because I'm going to get up here and I'm going to tell you stories about shit that I did that people would never fucking believe. But I'm going to call it the confession booth, because this is where I get to fucking tell somebody about some of the shit that I got away with, because I don't think people are going to fucking believe it. How about that? And I can sit up here in an altered mind state with my daughter, who is also in an altered mind state, and that's cool as fuck. I don't give a damn what anybody says. You catch a buzz with your kid, that shit is cool as hell. And y'all can hang out and chill. Both of you went to work that day. Both of you bust your ass that day. Both of you get to go home and relax. Fuck you. If I gotta work for a living, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my time.
That's right.
That sounds good, doesn't it? If I gotta bust my ass and pay my fucking taxes, if I want to get high on this shit that grows out of the ground, the forbidden fruits, marijuana, ask for it by name. Okay, so I dropped out of school And it wasn't a good decision. I never said it was a good decision. I thought it was a stupid fucking decision. But I was in a really fucking weird place because I grew up in a really, really fucked up house. The father that was treated extremely bad by his mother, and that turned him into a bad person. Now, there have been worse fathers that do things to their kids, but my dad did some pretty bad shit to me, and I mean pretty, like, go to fucking jail for a long fucking time shit. But I've never done that to my daughter, ever. I have fucking yelled loud enough to make the fucking house fucking tingle. I can make the fucking sheetrock sing sometimes. But I never, like, beat the shit out of you or bruised you or anything like that. So that's good. But anyway, so I don't want to make anybody try to feel sorry for me or anything like that. I'm just explaining my house where I grew up. The way I explain it to people, it was so bad. Have you ever, like, almost stepped on a snake or almost stepped on something and you get that little, you know, you feel it right in the middle of your chest and in your spine, and you're just that little oh shit, you know what I mean?
Or like when your car, you know, you have a blowout when you're on the highway.
Yeah, but not that extreme. Just like if somebody like almost merges into you and you're like, oh shit, you know, like that.
Yeah.
You know, that little startle. Okay, just that very first, like, danger, like that very first wince of danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I would get that when I saw his car parked in front of the house when I got home from somewhere. You shouldn't have that. My daughter was 32 years old. No, 32. My daughter was 7 years old when I realized what a good relationship I had with her was. Because I compared it to that. And I realized my daughter was always happy to see me when she saw me. Whereas I was never happy to see my father. I was never happy to. Fuck no. Oh. So, you know, I was really strong when I was, like, really fucking strong. Rodney and Roderick, they were identical twins. Archie Clark lived up the street from me. And we, like when I was like 14, 15, I was just like, just ka-tow, because I played football for so many years, and I was always out, like, walking somewhere, going somewhere, doing something, and they said that, like my muscles on my legs and my arms made me look like two people got crushed in one person. Just because I was just like, not like just giant bulging muscles, just big, you know, just super stock, you know. So I don't know, like you imagine like a dwarf. I'm like a tall dwarf, you know, just, right? You expect a big ass head, big ass dwarf head. I'm just like a mutated dwarf person. If a dwarf and an albino like gorilla made a baby, that would be me on crack. Okay. You thought that was funny as hell. So, okay, so getting back to this story, my father, I was very strong, right? I played football for a long time. I was always doing stuff. I was always out in the woods, like building forts, doing all that shit, man. If I was not in that house, I was out in the woods somewhere. I was in the creek somewhere. I was entertaining myself outdoors. And I'm so glad I did that shit, because nowadays nobody does that shit anymore. You know? And it's scary because there's going to be some psychopath out there in the fucking woods. You can't let your kid go out in the woods by themselves nowadays. You can be on the side of a fucking milk damn carton. Maybe look if you're missing. Have your damn face up there like on Christmas or some shit. All sad. Mom crying. Fuck that. You can't let your kid go out in the damn woods these days. If they gotta get some damn controlled park area. Yeah, it's like, this is the mulch area. You can play here. Oh, fuck that. Anyway, when I was a kid, you go there and just hang out, have a good time, play in the damn park, and then like go in the woods and like build campfires and shit. I never burned anything down. I tried to blow the house up one time, but I never, literally, we'll talk about that later. We're in the confession booth. I'm gonna tell all the fucking stories. And you're gonna be like, no fucking way. I'm like, oh yeah, God said, motherfucker, you're gonna live, and He put me into the world because I have done some fucking crazy shit. Oh man, God, I can't believe all that crazy shit that I've done in my life. All right. So anyway, making a bad decision of quitting school. I was trying to go back, like middle of the year, so I could get the credit, because all I had to pass was English and something else. And if I got those certificates, then I was like, look, I'll come here all the time. I just want the English credit. If I get the English credit, I get to go on, because everything else is good. I was one of those just smart, but just hated everybody people. Because my upbringing was so good. Hated adults. God damn, I hated adults. So anyway, I'm in the office. Well, I get to the school, right? And me and another person that goes by the initials of Zachy Heat and Air. Stay anonymous. He was there too, and he was trying to make his shit go right, and I was trying to make my shit go right, but I fucked my shit up and I left. But I get there, and it's a public library, and it's a high school. It's a high school with a public library in it. So I get there, and the assistant principal, his name is Newcomb. Newcomb till they fucking go. The worst haircut, dude. He had a fucking haircut. It was like a bowl cut, and the bangs were straight back, and he shook the microphone, and he what did he do? He never like brushed it back. His hair just kind of like right there, and it just stopped like a bowl shape all the way around his head, and it was annoying. My God, it was annoying. I had like fucking like just Chris Hemsworth hair. My hair was fucking awesome. My hair was like long and curly, but just badass curly. And it was like down to here. It's like people looked at me. They were like, he knows where the bong is, And I did too. It was right over there, motherfucker. Anyway, so Newcomb's there at the school. This guy's a fucking douche, but he had been a state champion wrestler for like North Carolina. So, I mean, he fuck you up, and everybody knew it because he had the fucking trophies and shit in his office. Don't fuck around. And I didn't do that, but I had been shown effectively how to hurt people. I will put it that way. And how I was supposed to stand up for myself. So he stops me and he says, what are you doing here? And I said, well, this is a public library and I would like to go to the public library, please. And he said, okay. And he let me go in because he couldn't stop me. So I went to the public library and I was looking for something, but I don't remember anything what it was. And I went into the administration office after that. I think that's what it was. I just bullshitted my way into the library, waited for him to go away, and then went into the administration office because I knew he was going to be able to sit there and fuck with me all day. If you watch it, you could tell which way. Men's was like one way and the library was the other. Whatever. If I saw him go one way, I see I go the other. So anyway, I go in there and I step into my guidance counselor's office just like you see on a fucking movie. I did that shit. I was like Teen Wolf 2 or some shit. Just step in there. Hey, you got a minute? Anyway, I was trying to get her to let me to come back to school. And she said I could and everything was going to be good. And then she was like, no. I had called him the day before. No, I'd gone there that day and talked to her and had to sign something. And then I had to come back the next day. So I came back the next day, and it was later in the day. It was like after classes had already started. And old GZ was there because he was doing the same thing I was. And they were like, well, they had told me I was going to be able to get my English credit, which is all I need, so I wouldn't have to fuck around with summer school. I would have had to do that, and I would have had to go to summer school. But then I could have gone on to my grade. That's what it was. So I wouldn't have been put a year behind. So we're sitting in the office, and the lady that's the counselor told me, oh, it doesn't matter, you won't be able to go there. It was information they could have given me the day before, like this, there's this rule, you can't do that. See, if they would have done that, nothing would have happened. But they told me to come back the next day after I signed something. And it was like a remittance to come back and I don't know what the fuck. Remittance form or some shit, I don't know. But anyway, it sounded like it was good, right? I just had to come back the next day for something. So anyway, like, I'm not happy because she had told me something different the day before. And I used to have a real bad temper problem, but I was taught how to have a real bad temper problem. And I was taught how to be aggressive when I had a temper problem. I was taught how to do that. So, I was aggressive. I didn't yell. I didn't fuck you. I didn't say anything like that. I was just like, you told me yesterday. I was assertive, but I wasn't belligerent. Right? Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
And I held it together. Newcomb loved that shit because he didn't want me coming back in that fucking school. Because I was extremely popular. I did have many friends, and we were all good friends. And we were all the guys that are going to the keg party, and we're gonna be doing some shit that we shouldn't do. We're not like the jocks or the preps, but we're the cool kids that do that. The young kids are like, man, those guys are cool as shit. Damn, I want to hang out with those guys. That's who we were. But so Newcomb hated that because you could tell, man, he didn't get pussy until he got married. Married. I'm gonna wait until I get married. He was that guy. He's like, I don't want to swim in any other pool, just yours. No, you need to play Aquaman for a couple times at least, just to make sure you wear your wetsuit there, Aquaman. So, anyway, he's walking out with me. Like I said, he fucking hated me. And he is gloating. He's not being like a huge dick, but he is like being as professionally an asshole as he possibly can. Yeah, well, Mr. Mormon, and he's got his hand on my shoulder. And we walk down the long sidewalk in front of the school, and we get to where the corner is, right there on Athens Drive. And I walk off of the sidewalk, and he's standing there, and he says something. He's like, good luck with your life, Mr. Mormon. And I turned around once I was in that street, and I said, "Fuck you," as fucking loud as I could. You've heard me yell.
Mhm.
I can hurt your ears like a fucking shotgun blast. I'm not proud of that, but I know I can do it. I've done it several times. This is a confessional, right? Okay.
Hey, I could do it too.
So, I do that, and he stands back, and then I look, and the woods outside of the school is right behind the sidewalk that runs down. And in those woods, there's all these people that are on their lunch break. They are all students. And they have witnessed somebody who was extremely popular with the off-color crowd that got in trouble just tell an administrator exactly what they wanted to tell that administrator. I reached epic level hero status. Like fucking that, man. I'm not lying to you. I have not made a lot of good choices in my life, and that is why I'm here in this confessional. Because I don't have much now, because I've made so many bad decisions, and that's why I'm here talking about it. I don't make these bad decisions anymore, and I have stabilized my life. But I figure people might like to hear about some of the absolutely insanely crazy shit that I have done in my lifetime. So I yell, "Fuck you!" And it's like, it hits a school, because it rides those woods right down to the school, and it echoed, "Yeah."
Mhm.
And everybody in those woods, it was like, huh? There had to be, 200 kids out there. And I got to the other side of that street. He said something else, and I was like, "Fuck you, motherfucker. Come over here. Say that shit over here." And he took 2 steps out in that street, and I took my fucking jacket off and threw it on the ground, and I said, "Come on!" My God, I was ready to fight. I was so fucking mad. I'd had so much shit happen to me. I was so fucking furious over everything. And I could not let it go. And he was somebody I did not like. And that was somewhere I was going to be able to let that go. And I would have gone to fucking prison for what I was ready to do. But when I did that, his ass turned around and walked back. This 17-year-old fucking crazy motherfucker that looked like a cross between, and y'all gonna say bullshit, but one day I'm gonna put a picture of me up when I was young, and then you'll go fuck yourself. But I look like a cross between Patrick Swayze and Kurt Russell. If they had a butt baby, it would have been me. And I loved Kurt Russell. Big Trouble in Little China. When I was a kid, God damn, I wanted to be Kurt Russell, Big Trouble in Little China. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be Mr. Burton. I wanted to be him, because that motherfucker was badass. Oh, man. See things. What was it? See things no one else can see. Do things nobody else can do. Yeah, motherfucker, that's right. Oh, God. So, he turns around and he walks back to the fucking school. And people across the street are like, "Woo! And I just fucking going nuts, man. It was fucking crazy. And I was like, that's right. But I think I was absorbing it. I think I was just sitting there taking that shit in or something. Because I didn't leave either. No. I was waiting for George. I couldn't leave. He was still in there. And I didn't have a lighter. And I needed to mask an aroma that was on myself. When the police came, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the police came. I had not technically done anything but disturb the peace. Right? And they were like, look, don't fuck around anymore and we're not going to take you to jail. And I was like, no problem. I do not want to go to jail. And they're like, okay, cool. And they left. And could you believe that these motherfuckers had to let me back in the next year? After that happened. And to Jesus. And I had to see Newcomb in his office with my mother, and it did not go well because he was fucking furious, and he got to yell at me in front of my mother, which apparently made a big deal to him. But he got yelled at in front of my friends. And my friends thought that shit was fucking awesome. I swear to God. That shit was fucking legend. And that is a true fucking story. And this is what I mean. When you get older, you're going to turn around, you're going to look at shit that you have done. And, you know, sometimes when I get relaxed, I feel like I can start to feel my mind slip a little bit, you know? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm starting to get older. I know what it's like now. You're still way deep in your head, but the outside is, everything else is going on, and you're so deep into your mind thinking about things that you're just, you know, you omit everything else. I think they said Einstein did that shit sometimes. So he would just separate himself in thought and come up with these absolute genius ideas. But maybe he wasn't on 420. Maybe his weed wasn't as good. That's funny as hell, isn't it? So, yeah, that was it. Okay. Yeah. I'll tell another story sometime.